All right, more information coming in. Environmentalists call for a joint session of both houses to address India's growing air pollution crisis. They've called for a joint session of both the houses and have an honest deliberation and an emergency action plan, along with medium-term and long-term plan for the entire country. So they're a call by the environmentalists for an honest discussion on this toxic air crisis that we face.
Of course, GRAP 4, we know, and GRAP itself is a reactive measure. So we are obviously coming to a situation, such a terrible situation, and the numbers that now GRAP 4 is invoked, rightly so. But there's a larger picture to it. It's what we've done throughout the year or years or many years ago, the decisions that were taken by the policymakers, that we are in this situation. These are not overnight things, the 2-3 days and the numbers will come back, then it will be revoked. So this is really not the solution. The solution are
All right, for more on this, we're now being joined by Srishti. Srishti, good morning. Of course, if you could just show us around a little, the visibility is very poor this morning. What can you tell us?
A very good morning to you. So, as we all know, the national capital has been enveloped by dense smog. Now, as you can see behind me, the level of visibility has really gone down today. Now, for the last 3 days, the air quality index has been in the severe category. Remember, on 13th of December, it crossed the 400 mark, according to the Central Pollution Control Board. AQI between 400 to 450 falls into the severe category, but the moment it crosses 450, it becomes severe plus. Now, according to the Central Pollution Control Board, the daily AQI index for Delhi was recorded to be around 466 yesterday, and now in Delhi, in Noida as well, it is equally worse, where it's touching about 468. Now, we are here at ITO just outside the Delhi Secretariat, and you can see the number of vehicles plying on the Delhi roads. Now, it's a Monday morning, and Delhi is under stage 4 of the graded response action plan, where offices, private as well as government, have been urged to shift to 50% work from home. The schools have been urged to shift to hybrid mode of learning, all in an attempt to bring down the number of vehicles on the road. Vehicles coming from outside Delhi, those not abiding by the BS4 norms, are not allowed to enter the city. But even then, you can see the number of vehicles on the Delhi roads, and these vehicular emissions really contribute the largest to Delhi's toxic air. People have been urged to wear masks when they step outdoors, avoid non-essential travel, and considering a lot of people, go out for morning walks and evening walks. But at this time, when the air is so toxic, everybody has been urged to not really step out if it's not very essential.
Absolutely, Srishti. Now, this is something we were discussing yesterday also when you were out in front of the India Gate, and of course you saw a lot of people who were not wearing masks. And of course the question right now is, we are seeing how the toxic air in the national capital is having a direct impact on the quality of life of its citizens. The GRAP stage 3 and 4 measures are now in place. Of course, the big question remains, what are the other sustainable long-term measures? And of course, environmentalists have also called for an honest discussion in both houses. Right, Srishti. So what can we expect going forward? Have you been able to get in a word with the people there?
Yes, right. Like you have been highlighting, so people here, if you remember, they have turned up on the streets almost 4 times this winter season. They came for protest at the India Gate, at Jantar Mantar, demanding the right to breathe clean air. Because remember, Delhi's pollution crisis, not just which occurred in the last few years, it has been perennial, with air pollution levels rising steadily every winter. Especially, it gets really worrisome in the winter season, when you can really see the visibility going down. And this is not just fog. Now, northwest India is actually enveloped by foggy conditions, because over the last 24 to 48 hours, the weather conditions have turned extremely unfavorable. The temperatures have plummeted, and there's a western disturbance which has impacted northwest India. So what happens then is there's a lot of moisture in the air. But the moment such conditions occur in Delhi, this becomes a deadly combination of fog plus a lot of pollution in the air, which becomes a smog episode. Now, if for 3 consecutive days, the AQI remains in the severe category, then it becomes one smog episode. Now that is why the emergency response measures were kicked into effect by Commission for Air Quality Management. It's issuing a lot of advisories. But remember, these are emergency response measures, which come into effect to bring down the pollution levels. But Delhi's pollution crisis requires long-term measures. Now, there are comprehensive inventories prepared by different institutes. IIT Delhi has prepared one, IIT Kanpur has done, TERI has done, which gives you an exact idea of where all this pollution is coming from. So the point is, why are we not really acting on those emission sources to bring down the pollution? Now, our response is mostly towards dust mitigation, which is basically PM10. Remember, there are 2 major pollutants, PM2.5 and PM10. And according to the Central Pollution Control Board, at this point in time, the dominant pollution is coming from PM2.5. Now, these are these particulate molecules which are less than 2.5 meter, in size, and that is why they can really, go into your bloodstream and impact your health. So it's very important that people also understand the health impact. It's a silent killer. So, and that is why I think there needs to be a lot of more awareness and a lot of pressure on the government to really act and take this pollution crisis extremely seriously.
Absolutely, Srishti. Now, that's a very important point. Thank you so much for mentioning that also. And with that, it's of course also important to see how we can minimize the health impact of this toxic air that we're forced to breathe. Now, 95% filtration masks reduce PM 2.5 inhalation outdoors, as Srishti was mentioning. Also, currently it appears as though a lot of these policies are aimed at dust mitigation, but it's PM 2.5 that we really need to be watching out for also. So inhalation outdoors, use an N95 mask. It's very important that when you step outside, you do use an N95 mask for protection and not a surgical mask. Indoor air can be worse than outdoor air. That's another important point. Without filtration, these sealed rooms are almost as if you're in a toxic air chamber. HEPA filters can cut the particle load significantly. You must also see if you can stop outdoor physical exertion if it's not necessary. Do not step out if it's not absolutely essential. It multiplies pollutant intake. Children and elderly, as we've been talking about since yesterday, face the highest risk. Health advisories must be taken seriously. This is not the time to be apathetic when it comes to the toxic air that we're breathing right now. These are some of the measures that we can employ immediately to help minimize the impact of the toxic air that we're breathing. For more on this, we also have with us Anshul right now. Anshul, thank you so much for joining us. What can you tell us, Anshul?
Well, yes, the AQI in the national capital continues to remain in the severe plus category as it has been over the last 2 days. But the difference that has been observed this morning is for the first time in this winter season, the visibility has gone down drastically. In fact, in the wee hours this morning itself, the visibility was somewhere around the 50 meters mark, but as the day is progressing, the visibility is increasing slightly. I'll just try and move out of the frame and try and show you in the visuals over here that this is for the first time in this season that we are seeing that the visibility has certainly dropped drastically, whereas the main issue that is being faced by the people of the national capital continues to remain the severe plus air quality that has been maintained over here over the last 2 days. Now, due to this low visibility this time around, there are certain flights that have been delayed. There is a delay that can be seen on the railway stations as well. But on the roads at this point in time, since GRAP 4 has been implemented, government officers have been asked to work from home. Certain private officers have also given these instructions that their employees should continue to work from home, and that is the reason why we are seeing comparatively less traffic on the road. So over the next few days, as GRAP 4 restrictions continue to be implemented out here in the national capital, it is expected that the AQI might improve a little, but how much of it will have a larger impact on the AQI, that is something that remains to be seen. But according to the IMD and the wind direction, the prediction is that the AQI will remain in the severe category over the next 2 to 3 days at least.
Absolutely, and Anshul, of course, we are also seeing some minor delays when it comes to the airlines also because the visibility has dropped to 50 meters. What can you tell us about that?
Well, yes, there are certain delays that have been reported. In fact, airlines such as Indigo and Air India, both of them have in fact gone ahead and issued an advisory to their passengers that they should check with the airlines before reaching the airport. However, the delay is not much at this point. Not much at this point in time. Certain flights have been delayed by 15 to 20 minutes itself. The Delhi airport is well equipped of night landing and is also equipped of zero visibility landing as well. So yes, there is a small delay that is happening, but we haven't seen any cancellations that have yet happened in the flight operations out here in the national capital.
All right. Now, Srishti, let me come to you also, of course, as we were discussing now. Indoor air can be worse than outdoor air without filtration. So really, people cannot step out if they're inside. Then also they have to remain extremely vigilant. So it's really impacting the quality of life of the citizens, not just in Delhi, but also we're seeing this become a larger issue across the country. What can you tell us, Srishti?
Definitely, it's a catch-22 situation living in Delhi. Now, if you're indoors, the pollution level is high. If you step out, again, the pollution level is in the severe plus category. Now, yesterday when we were at the India Gate and it was a weekend, that's what people were telling us. Now, if we cannot step out during the weekends and spend some time outdoors with the children, what do we really do? And that is why there are so many studies really pointing out that people living in the national capital are now considering other cities as option, because the Delhi's pollution crisis has not really gone, it hadn't really improved over the last few years. Now, there are recent studies point out that now, as you see this traffic congestion, now we only talk about PM10 and PM2.5, which are almost invisible. But this traffic congestion, as soon as the vehicles get stalled on the road, the level of nitrogen dioxide, now it's a toxic gas that increases in the air, and people don't even realize it that they're breathing this toxic air when they step out. And that is why experts keep on pointing out that if it's not really essential, then you can stay indoors and keep your children also indoors, at least during the winter season in the national capital, when when the deadly smog episode is being recorded in Delhi. And that is why there's a lot of resentment again. I'm sorry, it's just difficult to even speak when you're outdoors in Delhi, because the level of pollution is so high. And that is why people are also being encouraged to wear masks. Now, we are here at ITO and you can really see me struggling to speak. That is the amount of air pollution in Delhi. And it's not just in winter. The pollution level is high throughout the year. But during winter, it spikes to a level that it becomes so visible. Now, the visibility level can really tell you, it bears testimony to the fact that the pollution level in Delhi is extremely high. So when the Delhi government says that they have got these water sprinklers, that they have got these anti-smog guns, but where is the improvement? Now, there are about, I think, 40 air quality monitoring stations in Delhi. Experts have been pointing out that it's time that these monitoring stations also get widely distributed to places where the pollution level is high. So when you say that the air quality has improved, it needs to be shown to people. But as of now, there are enough data to point out that the level of annual level of PM10 and PM2.5 is high in Delhi,
Right.
So it's very hard to say that there is some improvement. A lot needs to be done.
Right. Well, Srishti, of course, you have been bringing us all the updates from the ground. Thank you so much for all those updates, and take care of yourself. Anshul, let me just come to you also. Now, we are seeing that environmentalists are calling for an honest discussion on the air quality crisis in the national capital. Also, they are asking for long-term sustainable measures. What can we expect on that front?
It will be unfair to expect anything, because we as journalists have been covering this entire menace of pollution out here in the national capital over the past many years now. And every year similar discussions come in. Environmentalists suddenly realize that there is a issue of pollution out here in the national capital, and it is at this point in the month of November, December that they finally come out and tweet their views or say their views in the media. Let alone the governments. The governments have not worked in any way or any manner to find any long-term solution for pollution out here in the national capital. We have seen just political bickering that happens between the Aam Aadmi Party, BJP, between the Punjab government, Delhi government, Haryana government, or for that matter the central government as well. It is at this point only that the Supreme Court also wakes up and tries to make some sort of a comment on the issue of pollution. But there is no long-term planning that has been done till now. There is no coordination that has been seen between the different state governments or the Delhi government itself to chart out some long-term plan on which work could be done throughout the year. It is just these 3 months that we see government getting proactive, government getting reactive, in fact, and then trying to take a few steps or just measures that could give an impression that they are trying to work on this menace of pollution. But there is no long-term solution that has come in either from the side of the environmentalist or from the side of the government. It is just the political dialogue that we see happening year in and year out.